like my father before me.
Welcome to the episode of... Someone's got their mic on. Ranger. Welcome to an episode of Jedi Academy. I'm the Smithie D, and joining me today is Warrior. We'll go Warrior first. Warrior, tell everybody about yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
Well, you just said it. I'm Warrior. Warrior from Team Instinct, and I'm just here to hang out and have some fun with you guys. And I like to do in-depth character reviews as well as just generalized fun videos for you guys to watch.
Fantastic. Let's jump on to my next, and that's going to be... Who should we pull out the bag here? Ranger. Let everyone know about yourself.
Hey, this is Ranger J 1999 from the Reality Skewed Gamers, and I run a stream about Star Wars Galaxy Heroes where we just have a weekly show where we cover all the in-depth things going on with the game, get into a lot of stuff in there, and we always do it live like we are doing now, and I'm just glad to be here.
Fantastic. That is awesome. So we're going to move on to our next guest, and that's Grande Patron. Let everybody know about yourself, Grande.
Hey, yeah, I'm Grande Patron. For some reason, Ranger lets me hang out with him on his stream,
Not my choice.
and I get to tell it. I get to expound my knowledge on Reality Skewed Gamers, and we all get to tell Ranger how he messes up in battles and how he can fix it for the next time. So that's kind of what we do.
Hashtag buy packs. Should always do
Hashtag buy packs.
You know, you guys should be ashamed of yourself. All you guys want me to do is buy packs. I'm trying to teach, give Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes knowledge, and all I get is buy more packs. I don't understand it. It hurts.
They're just Star Wars Galaxy Heroes whores. That's all they want is.
But I know, but why do I have to be the one to fulfill their fantasies? You know,
you brought that Boba pack.
I know that was,
you started it all whenever you bought the Boba pack.
I thought it would be something nice for the people that were viewing the stream to open up a pack. You know, we talked about it. Was it a good pack? Yada yada yada. And I've unleashed hell. I'm in hell every stream. It's like, and you guys don't help because Grande and Smithie will be sitting there instead of getting my back, say, no, this Ranger doesn't need to spend any more money. They're like, hey, you should open up a pack, and we'll actually type that in the chat.
Yes, we will.
And then all the other people just jump on in, and it's awful. So let's not.
Then everyone tells you after you spent all that money on pack openings that you're a moron for opening packs, right?
Yeah.
You're damned if you don't.
It's a no scenario. So,
Are you all set for military might?
Yeah, it's been a couple of hours, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it.
Yes, it looks. I've got quite a lot of Empire at the moment, so I don't know how it will pan out because those shards I only probably need Via. Via. What about yourself?
Yeah. I don't think there's anything I need from there. Maybe gear, maybe some gear, just the loot. But I've got most, if not all, of the Empire characters open and completed. Now we know Grande, being the whale that he is, has all the characters open already, so we know it will not have any effect on Grande whatsoever.
Yeah, I think I have every one of those characters 7-starred, so it's just gear, straight up. Yeah.
Lord.
It's the loot. Hopefully they'll increase the loot amount.
Yeah, there's going to probably be a hard mode on this thing, and so potentially there's a hard.
Last time there was 2, normal and hard, and the first time you beat each level, you'll get kind of bonus, a couple of shards or a couple of pieces of each character, and then the second time you'll only get a few. So the rewards are a little bit. How do I say this diplomatically? Not as good as they could be, but
totally agree.
It's still fun.
Yeah, it's fun to kind of like test how well you do with those characters. I mean, it's kind of going to be a little bit like the droid event that we had. I think it was maybe a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that was rough. That was really rough.
Which the
hard level on the droid event. It was.
Oh Lord, it was difficult. If you didn't have B2, you were not beating that. I didn't see a way. We actually talked about that.
K2SO help.
You know. Oh.
Yeah, all you guys with the free K2SOs. Oh.
Yep.
we could talk about that for forever.
Oh wait, I have a character that you don't, Grande.
Yes, you have a character that I don't.
Your tears are delicious right now.
I'm shark jumping that one right now. One soon, but not yet.
It feels good to have something Grande doesn't.
So, Zetas, which ones are you working towards? Which ones are pretty much your flavor? Start with Warrior, because I know you've got a Zeta.
I've got a couple of Zeta. I have done Barris Offie, and she's worth it all day for anybody who wants to use her in the raids to get additional damage. She's going to give you more durability. She's also great in Arena. I've used her in Arena a number of times, so that's good. But the other Zeta ability I've done is the Jin's second. She has two Zetas, and one of them is obviously for the turn meter removal, and then the stealing the turn meter basically from the opponent. And so I did that one because I wanted to, solo the Rancor with one character.
That's dirty. But what about you, Grande? What's took your interest?
So I've been looking at Barris. I have enough where I could Zeta one and probably have another one in here in a little bit, but I haven't really felt like I needed it to stay, rank 1 in Arena yet. And I keep thinking that potentially we're going to get another round of Zetas that could potentially be better. So I've kind of been hoarding them. And I think I would probably Zeta Barris, or maybe Zeta Qui-Gon Jinn if I really needed it. But for right now, I think I'm just going to hold off on them.
Yeah, because that's interesting that you say that, because not long ago, if we remember back when they were releasing the Zetas and they gave out the characters that were getting Zetas, Biggs and B2 were removed off that list as it was a mistake, or was it too early to release them? So it is interesting to see what they do bring going forward, because what we've got a lot of characters so far that are pretty much... I would never have used Finn. I would have never even thought that he'd have been a good leader. I would have probably never picked up Barris again, or even looked at Barris. But these Zetas are bringing out characters that are bringing life back to the game and making it so it's not all one-sided using Biggs and Wedge, and speed isn't the crucial thing anymore. So Ranger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, carry on.
Oh, was you going to say something more?
I was just going to say, yeah, it brings stability and balance to the game. I think that's what they're looking for, and something to look forward to. Obviously, I know I can't say what's happening because I'm under NDA, but just if you just open your eyes and watch, anytime they are talking about a redo, they're going to build a character and redo their abilities. There's going to be a Zeta ability built into that. So if they tell you they're going to rework Resistance like they did last month, and they tell you you're going to get a couple new Resistance characters in daily login, that's kind of something to pay attention to. They're going to try to make them more balanced, and that's exactly what happened with the last Resistance release. You see now these Resistance teams are doing really, really well for themselves with all their Zeta abilities.
The resistance team's crazy. They look so much fun to play with, without a doubt. So, what I want to ask you, Ranger, is which Zeta are you dreaming of getting?
I'm kind of off the wall a little bit, as Grandi will tell you. I'm curious to do Vader's and Boba Fett's, just because I like the characters, mainly because I know I've been playing Rebels for a long time and stuff like that in Jedi. I want to be evil. I want to be an evil team. And looking at Boba Fett and Vader, maybe they may not be the first Zetas you want to go after, because obviously it would make sense to go after Barris and get her Zeta and some of the other characters. But I like the challenge of getting that Zeta and then trying to see what applications I can do with it. So, because I really like what they did with Boba Fett. I mean, I thought that was a great rework. They made the gear impossible to almost get. I think it's a conspiracy to keep me from getting him gear 11. But other than that, I mean, I'm serious. I've been trying to get him to gear 11 for like a week now, You know, well, I'm willing to use crystals, buy it, but it just doesn't show up anywhere. It's like, really? I've got 2 pieces left, and they just don't show up. So I've been trying to farm them, but it's like, oh Lord in heaven.
Just wait till General Kenobi. if you think Boba Fett's bad.
Nightmare.
Oh, it's something else. But yeah, I those are the 2 Zetas that I'm really interested in playing around with first, just because I think it'd be interesting to see what you can do with them. So that's where I'm kind of leaning.
Yeah, Boba was a chore to get up, but yeah, General Kenobi, you're right, Grande, on that. Woo! You should just probably go and check him out. He took. I actually cheated and just brought all the gear, every single piece of it. I didn't farm for it. Then I thought, if I farm this, it's probably going to take me about 2 months. When I looked at it with all the pieces that it needed and the stock I had, and yeah, I just brought him. I just kept refreshing until I got him to gear 11, and it cost a fair bit. I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
lie.
I don't mind the cost. I just not seeing it. You know, it's like I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way and just get a bunch of crystals and just do it that way because the gear's not popping
The
up.
old-fashioned way.
You have to actually go to the, you know, I can't buy it. It's not
Old-fashioned way
there.
of
I'm gonna
pulling out
have
a
to
credit
farm
card.
it. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to farm it. You know, it's like that's the only option I got. It's like they're not popping in the store. So I mean, it's holding me back a little bit with my PvP team. So I want to get that done so I can move on to other characters.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. So
You got a bunch of people in chat that are asking questions, and some of them are asking, what is your plan for this stream, and how do you plan on making things work, Smithie?
I think it's world domination. Is that what we agreed on?
New World Order.
Yes.
Yes.
I get the Northern Hemisphere.
Grande, you get Mississippi. That's it.
Nice.
Right, so let's go and just let you know about how this interactive show works as you as a viewer. How it works is that you can throw some questions at us. You can even ask Ranger what is his favourite food, or ask Ranger why he won't open packs. But more importantly, if you're going to ask a question, make sure it's a constructive question. So if you're asking, for example, what character should I farm? Let us know the information that you've got already. So if you've already got a Rebel squad and you're asking, should you go and get Lando, for example, then give us that kind of information so we can answer your questions as quick as possible and let you as a viewer control how we go on this stream. So let's
I
have
like
a look.
it.
Yeah, I love it. I don't think there is a show like this currently for this game where we're just going to take a load of questions and we're just going to go through them, answer them, discuss them, and do our best. And if not, we're going to be here next week as well. So we will get through it. So let's have a look at the questions. How many episodes will there be?
15 million.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking if HBO... take us over.
7. There'll be 7 episodes. No more. No less.
666.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord.
But let's have a look. Who's going to be on the live show? Well, it's going to be myself, Smithie D, Warrior, Grande Patron, Ranger, and, well, Remon's not here yet. So he should be coming around, hopefully.
Yeah.
But at the moment, he was traveling, traffic. Let's go.
And you know, Finity's in the chat, but he's behaving himself. I'm actually surprised.
Me too.
Let's have a look.
Because usually he's trolling in our stream. He's always trolling people. We have a new name for Finn too. Did I tell you what it is? Dr. Finn, Medicine Woman.
Dr. Finn. Medicine.
It's not the best one. The best one that I heard so far was Grandpa Patron.
Oh yeah,
Grandpa Patron.
Grandpappy Patron.
Yeah. I was like, really? Come on. I got little kids. How in the world did I manage to become a grandpa already? Oh man.
Okay, now we're starting to get some questions here.
Yeah, so let's have a look. I've got the first one here. So, do you guys know the drop rate of Slave 1? And this one is for the fleet shipments, and this was put by Mario. What's your thoughts on this? Do you guys know the drop rate?
It was pretty. I mean, I bought the fleet packs. You want it in the packs, or you want it in
the fleet
in the ship
the store?
So the only spot that I've ever seen Slave 1 show up in is the top center location.
Yep.
It's the only location I've ever seen him show up there. And it seems like it alternates. Certain locations seem like they only have certain ships that ever show up in those locations. And so that one alternates between Imperial TIE Fighter, Slave One. I think that also the First Order TIE Fighter
Scimitar
is in
busts in there too.
Who's in there?
Scimitar.
Scimitar.
That's right. Scimitar's in there, right? So
That's the one I farm, a Scimitar.
I farm Scimitar every
Scimitar,
time I can get a chance. So and I'm still farming Slave One. So I would probably say, the best is that you're going to get maybe if everything was even, you probably have a 1 out of 4, maybe 1 out of 5 chance that it's going to show up, and that store refreshes. I believe it refreshes 3 times a day.
Yeah, it's like what, 1 in 3.
Yeah, so you're looking at it refreshes 3 times a day, and you got 5 different spots in there. So you have like a 1 in 5, like a 3 in 15 chance, something like that. That's that's not really a very great drop rate. For that,
especially when it drops, you're sleeping.
Oh yeah.
I know, yeah.
How many times have you been like, oh, I missed a whole section of refreshes on something, and you're like, I hope there was nothing good in there that time, because I've really been kicking myself, but I didn't see it, so I don't know if it was good or not. Let's just go on to the next one.
Yeah. This one's a good one from Enrique. Why is Ranger here?
He's here for comic relief. That's why Ranger's here.
Enrique is a communist, and he's jealous. He's from the Dutch land, and we all know that they're all evil trolls there. So he's jelly. So I'm here because, Enrique, because you can't be.
We did have kind of an interesting question here, which is about what about Rey's Zeta? So
amazing. So people always ask, what is the new meta, or what can you use to defeat the new meta? And Days is the new anti-meta. So if you want to take out a new meta team, we're talking about the turret base combo, the wigs combo, those kinds of things, you need Days. So that way you can stop with all the extra attacks and all the extra healing and all the extra turn meter gains. So her Zeta ability is amazing, one of the best.
So that's interesting. There right now, I want to say there's only maybe 2, maybe 3 characters that have the ability to affect Days in Arena. You have Darth Maul, right? And then you have an Omega Rey. Is that correct?
And
as far as I know, and both of those are anti-meta characters.
You've also got K2SO as well.
Yep, he has Days on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
You know the character you're having to farm right now, Grande?
Yeah, the one character I have very little experience with, except on my Android alt account.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that's interesting when we start talking about Zetas is about Zetaing leader abilities or Zetaing uniques. I have a very hard time Zetaing a leader ability, because then I'm really kind of stuck with that leader for a huge amount of time. I'd so much rather Zeta a unique and then be able to kind of slot that character into a new team, rather than saying, oh, I'm going to go hardcore, and now, for example, Qui-Gon Jinn or Vader is my lead for the foreseeable 2 or 3 weeks. That's a really hard commitment to make for me, because I keep wanting to play around with different team comps, and so I'd much rather look at Zetaing a unique than Zetaing a leader. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I guess you gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all. We got the next question. So this one will be input for probably Warrior, because you've done a lot of these videos recently with your topics of the free-to-play, best free-to-play characters on support. You've got attacking. I checked them out. Those videos are amazing. But the question that we've got here is, what is your opinion, the best free-to-play friendly arena team right now? By free-to-play friendly, I mean characters easy to farm and not very high speed mods required.
Well, in my opinion, honestly, I hate to say it, but the Wedge Biggs with Lando lead, because Lando's going to give you more speed. He's got the AoE still. You got the Biggs and Wedge, which naturally have a higher speed rate to start. And then, of course, you do a St. Han to speed them up at the initial time. And then if you could get Sunfac, now these farmable, you've got that ability to have a tank to keep them alive while they do their damage. Plus, you've got the dispelling on a basic. So I hate to say it, but that's kind of like a top 10 free-to-play arena team for sure. Or go droids if you want to shred through another team.
Droids are still very viable and nasty.
Well, what Urban Blaster says, never trust a droid.
Yeah, he just likes to rain blood on everybody. So,
Yeah. So we've got the next question from Ollie Yoshi. I currently have a Rebel main squad and a Jedi team. Should I improve my weak Empire team, grab a droid team, or clone team, or maybe any other suggestions? Thanks, guys. Love you. Okay. Right. So who wants to go first on this question?
You should grab all those teams eventually.
well, yeah.
But if I think that you'd probably say grabbing a droid team would be probably one of the easiest ones to do, because you can make that team incredibly good and beat teams with better mods with a droid team because of Jawa Engineer. And so I really feel like that if you were going to try to make one new team, it would be make a really amazing droid team. It's
for the raids.
For raids, it's amazing for P2. It's easier to get going than a clone team would be for that same P2 raid. So
and they're all easy to gear relatively in comparison.
Yes.
Yeah. So droids for sure.
Yep, I agree.
Empire's going to take a little while to farm.
I love Empire.
Oh, I love Empire too. It's just if you're looking for the first thing to go for, it just does make sense to go for droids first.
It's also really hard if you don't have an Emperor Palpatine to get an Empire team. I mean, I can't think of an Empire team that you would put together that would not have Palpatine in it, and you need Palpatine at 7-star. So, if you don't have Palp at 7-star, then don't.
Now, I feel as well, Shore Troopers kind of like they're required because they are so slow. They're not very fast. If you take out TIE Fighter Pilot from the equation, they're all generally really, really slow. And they're based on turn meter that they need to get their debuffs down if Emperor lead. So I find that Shore Trooper is that jigsaw piece that you need to have.
It's just not get him right now.
Yeah, Shore Trooper's hard to get right now. I mean, if you didn't get him from the first 2 tournaments and you didn't go all in on those packs, when they had him in the packs, it's going to be very hard for you to get Shore Trooper. Although a 4-star Shore Trooper is viable if you gear him up for arena. It's just
absolutely.
It's just maybe even a 3-star Shore Trooper if you had him gear 11 would be okay. But droids are just easier, so definitely go droids.
Definitely true. We've got one that's related now. Another question to Empire: is General Kenobi viable with Empire?
General Kenobi is viable with any team because of the skill he brings. He obviously works better with Jedi and clones if you want to max out his leadership ability. But if you're not using him as a leader, he works as well in any team as a dispeller, as a retribution giver, as he's an amazing character in any lineup.
Definitely. I use him currently with, it's on screen right now. It's a Boba lead. Boba lead.
Yeah, I use a very similar team to this, except I run I put B2 in instead of Sunfac sometimes. So yeah, I mean it's a very similar lineup.
Next question we've got it's a joint question from both Logan Flynn and Nero Hersey, I believe that's how you say it. But what is the best AAT Phase 3 squad? Personally, I found that Vader Zeta is pretty decent for that phase, but what are yours? Do you use Chirpa Palpatine? I do.
I use Chirpa Palpatine. I've used I've used that Empire, the Palpatine FO or TFP team. I still feel like I get more damage out of a Chirpa Palpatine with 3 taunts, at least right now.
It's Stormtrooper Han in there as well, so you can get your shocks on quick.
Definitely.
So I found anyway that the Chirpa the Turpentine team is more repeatable, I guess,
Yeah.
with Stormtrooper Han. I have found that when I put more speed on Stormtrooper Han, it worked better. I was able to get, I think, Stormtrooper Han up to around 230 something, and then he went before all of the little ad droids, and that seemed to make a huge difference. But getting Stormtrooper Han to 230 something is pretty difficult. I mean, I'm throwing a lot of really good mods onto Stormtrooper Han to do that.
Yeah, we just remodded my Stormtrooper Han on the stream a while ago to what, 232? We had him.
It's pretty sick. I remember. Yeah, it's pretty sick.
And it does make a huge difference. It really does.
Definitely. The best team that I've found that I've seen is Vader Zeta, if you can get one of them. If not, if you're going more for the cheap way, you could use a Dacia lead with Jawa, followed by TIE Fighter Pilot, Sunfac, and Han ST. You don't have to have Sunfac, you could put someone in, but it's going to allow you to get that taunt up, and he's very, very tanky. So I do find for the Phase 3 that there's lots of different teams. TIE Fighter Pilot is definitely worth getting. He's a pilot, he's good for Phase 3, he's good for Arena, so he's pretty much the all-round character.
You know, I've also seen a Tebow lead work relatively well on that team. I saw a guy get almost 700k damage with a Tebow Jawa team, and I've seen a couple different comps where somebody even used an old Ben evasion lead team for P3, and they did well. So I definitely think that if you're looking at the AAT Phase 1 and Phase 3, turn meter reduction does work, and also there's a bunch of different comps that will work for those two phases.
Awesome. I've got the next question now. We're starting to actually pile up with a lot of questions. So
I know, looking at that, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
So we need to get moving on there. So we've got one from Virtual Gaming World. I want to know who I should add to my Empire team. I have Palpatine lead with Vader, RG, and working on some fact. Who should be my fifth and why? Well, I can answer that straight away, and it should be TIE Fighter Pilot. Why? Because you're going to make him quick, he's going to put that buff immunity, he can ability block, and he's also going to consistently get turn meter, and he is a very big damage dealer for an Empire squad. Do you guys agree?
And I would totally agree with that.
1,000%.
And he's fast. And he's fast.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Completely.
We got one from Ewokin. This one, it says,
Ewokin.
How are
What's up,
Warrior and
Ewokin?
Grande going to stream and raid in 45 minutes? Can they multitask?
Yeah. Dream and raid.
If Grande can steal government Wi-Fi, he can do both.
Okay, let's have a look. So I've got one from here from JC Gaming. Should I farm Zetas at level 70 or wait? Wow, you can get Zetas already.
If you're doing the ship battles, right?
Yeah, I mean, because I guess if it's unlocked, he could potentially have done that.
Farm. I would say farm because Zetas are a long road. If you can get them, you know. You don't want to be neglecting your ships. But
I would make one caveat, which is if you bought a whole bunch of packs and you don't need to buy ships out of the shipments, then yeah, go ahead and buy them. But if you still do not have 7-star ships, then yeah, you're in farm mode on Zetas.
yeah.
And characters too. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of characters from the ships that you can get. I mean, Sunfac and the rest that you probably would want to get first before you start worrying about Zetas.
Like we're thinking about it, if you have a look at the actual fleet shipments, all of them to me look like they're current pilots or they're becoming pilots. Like you've got General Grievous in there. He doesn't currently have a ship.
But he should have a ship at some point. Totally agree.
Do you think he'll have the capital ship, or do you think he'll have his ship like he did in Episode 3?
I think it's
like Episode 3.
Yeah, yeah. They don't. Yeah, you never know. They could switch it up and give his capital ship from the beginning of Episode 3.
We've got.
What do you think, Warrior?
Oh, sorry, carry on, Roy.
You think Warrior? You think Grievous is going to end up as a capital, as a fleet commander, or you think he's going to end up as with his little ship from Episode 3?
Well, if I had to guess, and I honest to God don't know anything about it, but if I had to guess, I would say that they should make him a capital ship guy. But I also am the same guy who guessed that R2D2 was going to be the new raid reward for the AAT
You're the,
tank raid.
brother, you
So
ain't the
no,
only
I would
one.
not take
No.
what I'm saying more than with a grain of salt because R2D2 still's not in the game.
Me and Grande both said the same thing. So, I mean, you're not alone
I
in
was
that.
confident too. I was like, it's R2D2, and I was so wrong. I was totally wrong.
But aren't you glad you were wrong because you got General Kenobi?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is a way better reward for sure.
Yeah.
Right, so we've got one. We've got a question
What was
from
that?
Jonathan. It was kind of like an R2, like, you know, but
Oh, okay.
it wasn't very well done.
Oh, yeah.
So Jonathan's got a question. It would be nice to get ahead of something new for once. Any ideas? Ship hardware, astromechs, maybe new store, new currency. On that specifically, I don't actually know. I know Warrior, if he did know, he's not going to be able to disclose any of that information. But on Forts, I have no idea where those astromechs are going to come from when they do. It's kind of could be like a mod challenge, I guess.
Yeah,
Maybe.
2
I
cents.
don't know.
2 cents on that. My thought on getting ahead of the meta is to not worry about the meta and to do what is been proven through the last year as effective regardless of the meta. So when you're looking at characters who have withstood the test of time, those are the characters that you really need to focus on, which is why that free-to-play list I made was so vital because it kind of refocuses everybody back on who's easy to get, who's extremely versatile, and how efficient can you be with your farming methods to get the characters that can do ships, that can hit hard, that can, be versatile in multiple teams, because the meta is always going to shift and they're always going to put the newest meta behind a paywall of some sort, whether that's tournaments that you're having a hard time participating in or whether it's packs you got to buy. And so really you can still be top 10, top 20, top 50, but you got to stick with the elite free-to-play characters that they have out there and make sure you're really maxing that gear out.
I think that's a great point. I mean, if you go back and you look, I mean, that's characters like Sunfac, which came out from behind the paywall, Rex, which came out from behind the paywall. If you can, I can't tell you how many times the answer for whatever the new flavor of the day is, oh, we'll just run Rex lead, or just put Sunfac on the team. How many times have we heard that before?
Yeah.
So by all means, look at characters like Rex and Sunfac to try and maybe not stay ahead of the meta, but be able to counter the meta.
Correct.
And remember as well, all these rework characters seem to always be straight away a meta. Look how long Anakin's lasted, and he's still coming back now more than ever.
I still use Anakin.
Yeah,
he's so amazing.
We've got one from Urban Blaster.
Uh-oh.
What's up, Urban Blaster? What's up?
Let's read.
We're gonna raise some blood.
Gonna raise some blood. I love Urban Blaster, man.
Oh yeah, he's a hoot. We have him on the stream all the time. Hey, I didn't. Warrior, did you see the video he put for us for Gamer Fuel?
I didn't. Not at all, dude. I want to see it.
No, don't tell him.
So you got to go watch it.
Gotta go watch
it. You know what? That's where his kids and him made up a whole bunch of snacks, right? Yeah, I have seen that. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's done it twice, and Urban's. I think he's insane. That's all I can say. He's he's the best.
His question. We have to get back to the question.
God.
So he's got, hey Smithie, I have some access to some health, death, and nasty mod challenges. So what are the best to farm daily? Let's bring some blood. Right. So who wants to answer that one? I'll go with Ranger.
What was the question? I was too busy laughing.
I didn't even hear the question.
Okay, so I'll do it in the Smithie voice now. Hey Smithie,
Okay.
Sorry, I'll start again. Hey Smithie, I have access to health, defense, crit chance, and tenacity mod challenges. What are the best to farm daily?
Depends on the character you're trying to go for.
It does depend on the character.
Definitely.
Most of the time, though, crit chance, if you have the ability to do crit chance, you're going to want to put a crit chance set on. And then you've got sub characters that do really well with defense, which would be like, for example, your tanks.
Mhm.
and there are certain characters that already start out with a high defense, and so you can pile more defense on them. The health mods are great for characters that heal, especially characters that say heal all of the team as a percentage of their max heal, which is that's good to pile the health on there. And so you probably want to look at those. And then so it's a little bit of all. I think he said he had access to tenacity mods. There are
Yes.
a few characters that need tenacity mods, but one thing I will also say about tenacity mods is negative status effects. If you're going up against a team that throws a lot of negative status effects, you would be amazed what certain characters do whenever they have a lot of tenacity. For example, Rex with a lot of tenacity, Sunfac with a lot of tenacity, Admiral Akbar with a lot of tenacity. Some of those characters, if you can really pile the tenacity on, it is amazing what those characters can do.
Definitely. Right, we'll go on to the next question because these are piling up now. I'm losing sight. I'm going down the list. So, what are the best ships to farm? So
we actually talked about that in the last stream. Mage Ducky destroyed me, like I let him. And right now, the ships that he's got me farming for is and this is for end game, right? For PvP ships, Scimitar, Darth Maul ship, First Order TIE Pilot. Definitely is the one that he definitely says you need to have, and I'm farming him.
Slave One.
Slave One, yes. And that's where my nightmare began when I bought the pack to finish not only Boba, but get his ship unlocked. And he's definitely, those three ships definitely you want on your roster. But yeah, that First Order TIE Pilot was a priority, he said. You know, the other two are a little bit harder to farm, but the First Order TIE Pilot you can get up pretty quickly. And then the capital ship he wanted me to work on was Tarkin's, I always butcher the name, Executrix, whatever it's called. Yeah, is the end game ship that he's recommended me using. So I think those are where you really want to focus on first off, especially First Order TIE Pilot.
Definitely. Cool. Right, let's have a look. So this one's probably going to be more for you, Warrior, because I haven't seen Reza Zeta. Is it worth it? What is your thoughts on her?
I would absolutely say yes. And by the way, Smithie, you freaking beat me to the Resistance video. I had been building a Resistance video with Bochista from Team Instinct's video that he provided for me. And so unfortunately, I've got it ready, but then you put your video out, so I'm going to wait a day or two. But I do have a Resistance video, and Rey is literally a meta breaker right now. She was meta, and she's coming back very hard because as long as she does not have negative status effects, she dazes on her specials, and she has a couple specials. So on her like whack-a-mole, you know, she's smacking people up with a triple mollywop, as he would say. She's locking them down without any ability to gain extra turn meter, without any ability to, you know, assist or be called to assist or retaliate or anything. And so she is destroying the other teams, especially the meta, because, you know, she hits Chirrut and Chirrut's not going to get that retaliation. She hits Baze doesn't do the retaliation. Now, with that said, Daze is currently broken in the game a little bit. So they're going to fix it because you can daze some characters, and certain characters will retaliate. You know, they'll do their retribution even though they're not supposed to. So they've got to get all the mechanics worked out. But Rey is back, and she's back harder than ever. And I hope everybody took everyone's advice months ago and farmed her up and got her good, because she is an easy fill-in on any team that is going to be able to stop the craziness that is the current, which is all of the extra turn meter, all of the extra, you know, attacks. And so, yeah, she's super viable. Definitely her Zeta ability is amazing, and this is why. It's not a leadership ability. Just like Grande Patron was saying, it's something you can do, Zeta it, and you can use her on any team in any position, just like Barris. And so those two are the first two that I really recommend because they're usable in any team comp.
Cool.
Well said, sir.
Definitely. So the next one I've got here is crit avoidance versus protection on the arrow. Is it worth it for a tank? And me personally on that one, I would probably go protection because I feel that we're coming away from this crit avoidance, well, this crit kind of big meta where, I don't know, what's your thoughts on it?
Grande.
Okay, so crit avoidance. I think that's important. There are some characters that run that, especially if they run a bunch of crit damage, or they run a or the team you're running up against runs a bunch of crit chance mods. But I think that I would probably run protection as well. For the most part, you get such a huge boost in protection from a protection arrow. But I still think that speed is important, even on some of your tanks. And the reason why is because if they get stunned, or if they get, or if they're gonna blow out of that stun quicker and faster. So I still think that speed is number one, and then I think that the high percentages, and I also want to kind of say Warrior did a great video on mods that was like 40 minutes long. It's probably about a month and a half old, but I will tell you that he kind of went over a bunch of these different ideas about which mods to put in which area, and it was really great to see him do that.
Definitely. Right, so we've got one here. I have Imagundai as lead. Who should I use with him? At a minimum, I use Yoda 5's Luminara and Ayla Secura. Who wants to go for this one?
Replace Luminara with Kit Fisto, or someone else that has a natural counter ability, so you have an increased counter chance. Plus, Kit Fisto is underrated. Nobody likes him, but he hits up to 4 times in a row because he can counter, and he has the chance to hit possibly 2 times. So if he counters up to 2 times and then gets to take his turn up to 2 times, I mean, he can get up to 4 hits, and I did crit chance, crit damage, and so he's hitting for 5 to 10k up to 4 times. I mean, I watched him do 25,000 damage in literally one get-go, and that's underrated for sure. So I would put Kit Fisto. He's easy to get to and easy to gear.
Would you take over, because they're from both the Cantina nodes, would you go for Anakin or Kit Fisto?
Ooh, Anakin, obviously. Kit Fisto's not Anakin.
Yeah. Who is Anakin, really?
You can slot Anakin.
It's like a philosophical question.
Spot.
I would go
he's
for
Darth
Anakin.
Vader. Wait, he's a little kid.
Especially with that data mine with the ships. What we've seen on reality Skewed Gamers, what we were looking through the data mine that was posted on Reddit, and it was showing that Anakin's going to be getting a ship sometime in the future at some point, so it's definitely worth going after Anakin for that alone.
Yep.
Let's have a look. So the next one we have... Oh, I've actually seen this question that was out here, so I've actually seen it. It says, I think it's impossible for a Zeta Maul to kill another one when they both have full health. So these are 2 Mauls going against each other.
Maul versus Maul.
Oh, Lord.
It's like Chewbacca. Do you remember the kind of like olden Stone Age days of this game, and you'd have 2 Chewbaccas in Galactic War, and they just keep shooting each other, and they're just
healing.
He'll shoot. Yeah, it was. That's pretty crazy. I'd like to see a video of that, just like the never-ending story. It's like you see those videos where somebody's got they're like running up in GW or something, and they've got like Scarif Rebel Pathfinder, and he dies, but he gets a buff back, and he dies, and he gets a buff back, and it's just this like never-ending loop. You've wondered with some of that stuff with the data mines, as far as like if they're not careful, they could end up with these loops that just go on forever. So they definitely have to be considerate of that.
Definitely. So we've got here, Maul is arena viable then. Yes, he is with a Zeta.
Absolutely.
If you don't have him as a Zeta, then you're going to need to put him with a strong lead, like either Emperor Palpatine, because he's still a Sith. So he can go into a lot of squads, but he's going to benefit the most where he's going to get something from the leadership, and most of all against Jedi.
And protect him with somebody like a shore trooper.
Yes, or Royal Guard.
Or yeah, that would work.
Because he'll just keep healing, and then his health will go up. Did you guys ever get a chance to see the video that I put up with Maul taking on the Tier 6?
Yes.
Yes, and that doesn't work for Heroic. We've tried.
No. But with that video, the person that gave it me, that was Eddie Bear, he then went away, and he didn't take a video of this because it was too long. He then changed that 12 million that he got at the end and did a 48 million run that took him 15 hours on auto.
Wow.
That's dedication.
Wow.
Yeah, don't lose Wi-Fi, and don't let your phone die during that 15 hours.
No.
There was another guy that posted on the forum that said that my video inspired him, and he went to sleep, left it on auto, got up in the morning.
Oh my God.
It's quite amazing. Let's have a look. So I'm just going through them now because there's some. So what are the best mods for Darth Maul? Health, protection, to help him stay alive. I could
Health and
say
speed, or tenacity
health
and speed.
Yeah, definitely. Health's
Yeah.
definitely important there over protection. Protection's
I'd
not.
say it's for sure. And I would do speed secondaries on absolutely 5 of the slots, and then do a 30 speed on his arrow. And you got to get him as fast as possible. So that way he just takes lots of turns. I'd have him as the leader, and then I'd probably do either tenacity set or health, but probably health, because if he's the leader, he's not going to be hit often. He's got a lot of evasion, and he just needs to be less squishy when he does on the occasion get hit.
Definitely. Let's have a look. There's a lot of comments in this chat. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
There's a lot. Maybe I posted out too many links. I'll check. Right, so we've got, going through the questions, going through. There's actually not many questions at the moment. Okay, so I'm level 85, and I'm not farming Zetas. I'm confident they will introduce something that requires 7-star ships sooner than anybody wants. Okay, so that's.
You mean like a raid or something along those lines is what he's referring to?
That would be super sweet to see a ship's raid.
What, like the Death Star run, the Trench run?
There has to be a Death Star run or something.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Right, so sorry about the dead silence there. Why haven't they added Jedi Luke yet? I don't know. I wish they did. What are your guys' thoughts on Jedi
Which
Luke?
one? I want the end of Episode 7 OG Luke. I want him.
You want like an old Luke?
Yeah, because he'll be all badass and powerful in the Force. He just turns on his lightsaber and 20 people die.
They potentially are waiting, I guess, for a new movie, right?
Yeah.
Well, I from what they heard, the rumors for Episode 8, it's going to be essentially focused on Rey and Luke, and there's supposed to be a new look for Luke in that movie too. So it could be what they're waiting for.
I don't know. I'd like to see an old Luke. I mean, we already fight against him in the game. It would sure be nice to get him, and I'd like to see a Luke that we had as like a Palpatine or a Yoda type event. I think that would be super sweet.
I think so too. But we know Smithie's favorite Luke is the Tatooine Luke they have out right now.
Oh, Tatooine Luke. No, it's Jedi Luke. Don't know what you're talking about, this Tatooine Luke.
Well,
the one that's in his karate outfit, that one?
Yeah, the one that you got Christmas presents for this year.
Well, do you know with that actual competition that we had then, right? Nobody told me that it was your favorite character in the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes games. What was it? Finn that messaged me. He said to me what is your favorite character in Star Wars? And then you guys changed it later. It was actually Galaxy of Heroes in the game. So I was just like, oh, I've got Farm Luke now.
And forever will it control your destiny.
It sure will. Unless he gets his green lightsaber and he's OP and he just destroys everything, then I will have the last laugh.
That's awesome.
So we've got here. So we've got. Are there going to be new fleet commanders? And he's put question mark new. And this is from Jonathan. What we went over, what I've seen on the data mine, that isn't it? You know more about this, Grande, because you were reading from the data mine when we were going through it on Reality Skewed Gamers. New.
It certainly looks like Newt Gunray. Absolutely, Newt Gunray and a separatist kind of fleet commander, which could potentially make the three Geonosians a little bit stronger. Mace Ducky seems to think that if the abilities stay just like how they are in the data mine, that it's still going to not be as good as the current 3 fleet commanders that we have. But time will tell. I mean, it's not released.
Let me say with the data mine info, the data mined info has been many times in the past wrong, and you got to take it all with a grain of salt. And they're literally constantly tweaking everything. So what we see
Exactly.
the data mine, for example, this is something I could see them doing. I'm just throwing out random, stuff out of the backside of me, but they could totally give the Newt Gunray ship. All separatist ships get a plus 25 speed, and all of a sudden you now have the fastest ships in the game with stun and high power DPS and all of that, which now makes them all very relevant. But the plus speed wasn't in the data mine, so it's things like that because they're constantly tweaking and changing. And when you scrape that information and it's 2 months old, it's 2 months old, and they're literally changing everything by the day, sometimes by the hour, because when they start testing stuff out and they realize it's not strong enough, they have to add features to it. Or when they realize that a ship hits for 100,000 on its basic accidentally, they got to tweak it down a little. You know what I mean? So it's all very
That's an
fluid.
excellent point. Excellent point. It is data mined, and you definitely have to take it with a grain of salt.
Definitely. So we've got here, I need a tip about a team. This is a good team. Qui-Gon Jinn Zeta, Anakin, Ahsoka, Yoda, and Ayla Secura. If not, what should I change it to make it work without the General? That's a difficult one, because the General gives you that taunt. General, it is, when it comes to Qui-Gon Jinn Zeta, from experience, it can work on offense, but on defense, there's so many characters like B2, like TIE Fighter Pilot. All it takes is TIE Fighter Pilot to clear. B2, then it's pretty much going to make the team quite useless. You're going to need to have that cleanser there. You're going to need to have a taunter after he's cleansed, but with B2 being on the other team, it's quite difficult to pull off on defense, and everybody's adapting. Everyone's going after different Zetas. Not everyone's going after the same. So they do all have their pros and cons. So it's essentially that probably better to run a hybrid. So if you've currently got Qui-Gon Jinn Zeta and you don't feel like it's working, then it could be to step away from a full 5 Jedi team until you do get General Kenobi and go with more of a hybrid where it's going to allow you to put cleansers into the team. It's going to allow you then for your Jedi to regain their foresight, because that's what makes them strong with their speed and their damage, but they need that protection. Do you guys agree on that?
I agree.
Warrior?
Yeah, and I actually would say if I had General Kenobi, which I do, and I was running full Jedi, I would actually run him as the leader, which then makes his Qui-Gon Jinn's Zeta ability inoperable. So the truth be told, that's why I didn't do Qui-Gon Jinn's, because if I'm going to run Jedi, I'm either running Ayla for P1 as a lead or General Kenobi as a lead, if I was going to go arena. So for me, Qui-Gon Jinn just didn't make sense, but I know for other people it does.
What about you, Grande?
I really feel like you need the biggest thing that Jedis are missing is a taunt. So that means you're going to have to throw a different taunt in there. You're going to have to throw Baze in there. You're going to have to throw, Royal Guard in there. You're going to have to throw somebody in there as the taunt. And that's really the biggest challenge that we've said with Jedis for quite some time. And I don't really know how to make Jedis totally work on defense without that taunt.
Definitely. We've got one from... sorry. What was you saying?
That's how you make him viable, because he gets taunt every time somebody's critically hit, which is the meta. Critical hits are meta. So, you've got to have him on the team so that way he can taunt randomly and piss the other team off, because every time they're trying to take someone out and they critically hit someone, they got to go back to your General Kenobi.
Yep.
Definitely. So what we've got here, we've got one from Landon. I'm using Old Ben as lead in my Rebel team in the arena. New Ashad, I'm level 77. Is he still viable in the top 10 in later levels?
Not right now.
No, not right now.
No, just because the evasion factor, it's not like it was 7-8 months ago when it was all Dooku and Old Ben leads. It's just not with the way these teams hit now and everything. It's just you're rolling the dice if it's going to evade or not. Him as a lead. So there's just it's not viable right now. And looking at the meta report, I don't even think he's even. Did we see an Old Ben at all on there last time we looked at it, Grande?
It's been a very long time since we've seen Old Ben up there. I'm not saying that you couldn't use Old Ben. It's just you're just going to have to get so much speed on him to get his ability block to go first. And I'm not even sure if you had, double Jeds at 20 speeds that you could get him to go before some characters like TFP. So we'll just have to see. I think that that the evasion, the evasion meta is just a little bit behind us right now. It'll probably come back, but it's just not there right now.
What about you, Warrior? What's your thoughts on the old Ben?
I thought you said Lando. It must have been the guy's name. I said yes. Everybody's all no, and then you guys start talking about old Ben. I'm like, oh, we're talking about old Ben. What the hell am I talking about? But no, you know what? I have a guy on my shard who does Jedi. He's totally sold out for Jedi, and he's using Qui-Gon Jinn lead, and he puts in old Ben, and his old Ben runs over 230 speed. Plus, he gets the speed bonuses from the Qui-Gon Jinn lead, and so all of his characters are like 230 to 310, and he does get to go first with every character, and some of the characters go twice before some of my characters, and so his old Ben actually ability blocks everybody first right off the bat and offense down the entire team, and so it works pretty effectively when he's on offense. Now, when I have to fight it, I can kind of let all of that happen, recover, and then come over and decimate. But defensively, like you guys said, it doesn't work as well for Jedi. But he's still viable if you've got him maxed out in a Jedi team with a Qui-Gon Jinn lead. But it's only really good offensively.
Definitely, yeah. Right. Just going through. I'm gonna run out of footage soon. We've been here going for an hour.
You just gotta put it on the loop.
There's an interesting question. The Force Arena versus SWGO8 debate. Do we think that Force Arena is going to take over, or do we think Force Arena is going to skim a bunch of players off of SWGO8?
Both. It'll take players. It'll take players.
Go ahead,
But there's going to be players that want to play both. I've got tons of people in the team. You know this. Everybody in Team Instinct. There's a ton of people that have now moved over. But it's one of those games. It's either you want to be live or you want to be turn-based. I have a wife and 4 kids, dude. I get so much anxiety when I play Clash Royale that I actually quit Clash Royale because I'm like, oh my god, I gotta play this. I gotta play this. And that's what Force Arena is. It's like action live time. You've got to play at the moment, in the moment. And I just prefer a turn-based where I can if a customer walks in and I'm working and I need to drop my phone